Sound 1. Now, every day our world is filled with a multitude of sounds. Sound can let you communicate with others or let others communicate with you. It can be a warning of danger or simply an enjoyable experience. Some sounds can be heard by dogs or other animals, but cannot be heard by human beings. The ability to hear is definitely an important sense, but people who are deaf are remarkable in the way that they can compensate for the loss of hearing. In this particular topic, we are going to learn more about the basics regarding sound, propagation, and the process of hearing. Now, sound is basically defined as a mechanical longitudinal wave which requires a material medium for propagation. Sound is a longitudinal wave that require material medium for propagation. Sources of sound. The following are some of the sources of sound in the laboratory. When we talk about sources of sound, we are simply referring to some of the activities that can be done both in and outside of the school laboratory in order to produce sound. Some of the sources of sound include vibrating wooden strip, vibrating wire, vibrating drum, tuning fork, air siren, cog and wheel card, voice box. Voice box is basically the larynx in human beings that helps in sound production in human beings. So these are some of the sources of sound. So among these sources of sound, sound is basically propagated through vibration. Terms used in sound. The following terms are most commonly used in sound to actually assign meaning to some of the various concepts that we have in sound. Sonic spectrum, which is basically the frequency range in which compressional disturbances occur. Frequency range. Within which compressional disturbances occur. So we are talking about compressional disturbances. We have already said that sound is a longitudinal wave. So if it is a longitudinal wave, then propagation is made possible through compressions and rarefactions. So the frequency range within which the compressions occur is what we call the sonic spectrum. Audio range. Audio range is simply the audible range of frequencies in the sonic spectrum. Audible range of frequencies. So what this means is that within the sonic spectrum, we have a range of frequencies, some of which are audible, while others are non-audible. So the audible range of frequencies is what we call the audio range. So the audible range of frequencies in the sonic spectrum is a range of between 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. So this range of frequencies is basically what forms the audio range within the sonic spectrum. Now, on the same note, frequencies above the audible range are said to be ultrasonic, while those that are below the audible range are said to be infrasonic. So within the sonic spectrum, we have a range of frequencies where we have the audible range at the center, the frequencies that goes beyond the audible range are said to be ultrasonic, while those that are less than or below the audible range are said to be infrasonic. Sound intensity. Sound intensity is the rate of flow of energy carried by a sound wave. So we had said earlier that waves carry energy with them. So the rate of flow of that energy is what we call sound intensity when we refer to sound waves in particular. So the intensity of sound depends on the amplitude and frequency of the sound. And in addition to this, it is the intensity that we use to determine the loudness or the loudness of sound. So sound that is very loud is said to be having a higher intensity and vice versa. So sound intensity in simple terms is basically rate of flow of energy carried by a sound wave. Flow of energy carried by sound wave. Pitch of sound is another term that is closely related to intensity. But now, as sound intensity is determined by amplitude and frequency, the pitch only depends on the frequency. So, sound with a higher frequency will have a higher pitch, and that with a lower frequency will have a lower pitch. So basically, the pitch of sound determines its highness or lowness. Determines highness or lowness of sound. Determines highness or lowness of sound. An echo is a reflected sound. Reflected sound. And when an echo is re-echoed, so it means that an echo is produced and again reflected, so that it appears like a prolonged echo. Then we have what we call reverberation of sound. Sound reverberation. So sound reverberation is the persistence of sound after production, or simply a re-echoed sound. So a reverberation is simply a re-echoed sound.